Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I know that this is a little bit late, but I've finally got around to filming my December favourites. As you can see from the title, I've decided to incorporate a few things. So it's initially going to be my yearly roundup and reflection, which won't take too long, then my December favourites, and then I thought I'd end it with my 2018 tarot or tarot kind of woo-woo related goals. To start off with, I'm going to discuss my yearly roundup. If you'd like to skip, then I'll put a time note at the bottom. Without boring everyone, I still feel that it's important for me to reflect on my year and everything that happened and how this may have come into my tarot practice or just how I was functioning as a person. I reflect on 2017 personally as, I think someone said, a shitstorm, and I was like, yep, that's the word for it. There was a lot of trauma and a lot of grief. I started 2017 with a back injury, which turns out to be a slip disc, probably from a very, very severe motorbike accident that I had the year before. And I was due to go in for my second endometriosis operation. I've had endometriosis since I was 14. I'm soon to turn 30, so it's been a long time. In terms of the endometriosis, I've already had an operation for it, but I had another one February 2017, which is a laparoscopic, where they go in, have a look around, burn some off, etc. It generally grows back, at least in the way that they had attempted to remove mine. It was very unsuccessful. The symptoms remained straight away, and unfortunately it didn't help us with my fertility. And we had some really bad infertility news this year as well, after a couple of disappointing years and nothing happening. That's kind of how I started the year, and basically it went into me continuing to be in an incredible amount of pain, thinking it was because of my back, and I spent a lot of time in and out of hospital and at appointments and on different medications, and I basically felt a little bit like a guinea pig of some really bad medical exploration. Without boring you with the details, I then lost my work, so I lost my job, and health just continued to spiral until the very end of the year. So in December, which is why it feels so poignant for this video and my experience and my December favourites, I finally received a diagnosis as to why I'm experiencing so much chronic pain on top of my pre-existing conditions, because I have several. And it turns out that I've been diagnosed with fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia is a chronic condition and makes complete sense as to why I was getting pain everywhere and anywhere, and that it wasn't just a back injury. It's a little bit bittersweet for me, and therefore I find it quite hard to talk about at the moment because it's still very fresh. But one thing that I would say is that it was really a relief to finally get a diagnosis after symptoms of 4 or more years and a whole year of just being in absolute agony and being pushed from pillar to post. It was very interesting because there was a mix of knowing, like, there's a lot worse out there, you know, I'm not dying of anything, I don't have anything terminal, there's a lot of people in the world, in third world countries, in war-torn countries, and therefore I really struggled to process fully, I guess is the best way to explain it. And this year particularly was lived with quite high levels of fear, obviously continuing pain, but also feeling unable to self-soothe, which kind of will bring me into my goals for the new year in line with tarot. I don't really know what else to say about that, but really on my reflection of the year, I guess that I grasped onto tarot again after dipping in and out of tarot a lot over the years and being brought up around it. I kind of grasped on it as a very healing and mindful and therapeutic and cathartic tool to be able to try and hold myself in the midst of everything that was going on, whilst being quite a private person. Ironically, she says that she's doing a YouTube video and not really talking about it too much. Might be a little bit of a hermit. So, the end of the year, December, my partner finally got to be off work. I got my diagnosis. So it was a weird space, and tarot was incredibly helpful. And that brings me on to my word of the year. I do a thing where I pick a word of the year. It's probably very common, but I only started last year. So 2017, my word of the year was healing. And because I had in my mind that I had a back injury and that I was going to heal from it and the pain would go away, that's how I saw the term in my mind. It's interesting because on reflection, I feel like I fought for answers, you know, and I had to fight for answers. I was discharged by a lot of professionals and had to have a lot of heated and forceful conversations to keep getting myself seen by different people. I allowed myself to acknowledge that something was, you know, sincerely and seriously wrong with my body because I have such a high pain threshold, and because I knew that it wasn't something psychologically manifested. And I think that in that aspect, there was a lot of healing to be had because I fought my corner and I knew that I would be the one that would have to do that. In terms of healing emotionally, because I only got closure at the end of the year, and I feel like healing's going to come into the new year. That being said, I didn't want to have the same word. It felt like there was a few things that I wanted to encompass in the new year. Healing was one of them. Compassion and attachment to those who I consider my tribe, so those who are closest to me. I sat and it was really funny because I was toying with a word in particular, and then my friend got me this lovely little journal. It's called 365 Happiness Journal. And she knows that I often like to go on kind of walking adventures, and we can't travel too far at the moment, so it means that I go to a lot of forests and stay there, and this is something that I could carry with me. Now, it's got day 1, day 2, etc. and you write the year, and you simply write things that make you smile, things that made you happy, and you can actually do it for 2 years, which is absolutely, look at that, gilded edges on my book, oh yes. Absolutely adorable. And it turns out it fit with the word that I was toying with just beautifully. I've chosen the word gratitude because I feel like it's an amalgamation of, I appreciate that I have been given a rough hand, and part of my intention in the new year is to allow myself that self-love that's required and grieve and sit with the trauma and process all of that. But I also wanted to incorporate an awareness of all of the good moments, because, you know, this condition is not going to go away. This is a chronic condition, and therefore my aim was to incorporate it in the same way that I've done with the endometriosis and the PCOS, have it as a part of me and not define me. I very much felt like my health, naturally it needed to, but it did define 2017. I want to look back on 2018 and most years and remember those poignant, powerful, gracious, fun moments, have gratitude for all of the gifts, and have a balance. I think that acknowledging pain and doing shadow work and being in it is just as important, but I want a balance this year, very much yin-yang energy focus. So gratitude is my word, and this is my book. You'll be glad to know that that is the end of my yearly roundup. And if you did listen, then I thank you a lot. It was important to me that I process it and kind of explain it as well, because I have had an amazing amount of followers, not just on YouTube, because I would say that I'm quite a small fish in a big sea, but on Instagram especially, it's just exploded. My followers this year have just exploded, and I feel so grateful. And I know that a lot of people have been privy to bits and pieces of my health, because I like to use it as a platform to spread awareness and let people know that they're not alone if they need to reach out. And so I feel like it's important that I find a way to give a closing reflection on that, and also thank the people that were supportive throughout that, because there's been many of you and many connections that I've made, especially on Instagram, but also on YouTube, that I'm very thankful for. And if I was going to do a yearly favourites as well as a December, then I would be very thankful for that, because it's made the world of difference to me. Now, before I get all gushy, I'm going to jump into my December favourites. December, in terms of my actual online activity, was blissfully quiet. I massively stepped back, and I'm sure if anyone does follow me on Instagram, they would have really noticed. I even had a few messages asking where I was. I just needed to, and it was lovely. I did get a bug over Christmas, of course, so that will be one of the reasons as well, but never mind. Let's jump into the decks. I kept it really simple. I used a couple of decks maybe for Instagram pictures, but in terms of ones that I genuinely were my favourite of the month and I used a lot, there's probably a smaller portion, about 6. You all know this deck, I know. It's the Wild Unknown Tarot, and when all else fails and I need to heal, but I need not quick messages as in short, but it's just an easy read for me. It feels very natural and is really my lifeline. This is very, very quickly become, I don't know, can you have 2 soul decks? Because obviously my medicine woman, but honestly, I freaking love this deck. I have nothing but good things to say about it, honestly. And naturally then the Animal Spirit, and these are both by Kim Kranz, as you can tell by the artwork. Again, I love this deck. They play so nice together. I love working with animal energy, again, as most of you know. But I think on an emotional level, this deck really hits me. It speaks to me. I get a lot of intuition with the 2 of them, and I find it very healing, and it brings me a lot to work with and a lot to focus on. And then on a very superficial level, this is my favourite deck in my hands. They just feel divine. There isn't any 2 ways about it. The next deck that I have been loving is this wonderful Moon deck, and many of you will have seen the video that I posted recently. If not, go and check it out. This is an entry into working with the moon for myself, as I'm very new to the moon energy, and I was very blessed to have been gifted this deck as well, which I'm incredibly thankful for, and I've loved it. It has sat on my altar and been used a lot and taught me a lot as well. Next up, I've got the gorgeous Animism Tarot, which most of you know I was gifted by a dear friend as a present, but I guess you could call it a Christmas or a Yule present in particular. She lit me up giving me this deck. You know, you guys, I love the animals, but the artwork. There's something about this artwork in particular that it's not... childlike is the wrong word. It's more soothing. I think that's what I want to say. Like, it evokes a very gentle emotion within me. Or maybe it takes me to a gentle place where I can then express emotion. That's probably a better explanation of it. I'm losing my words because I've spoken about so much emotion. I'm like, okay, I'm done with that. This card makes me laugh. I was a little bit concerned that I would struggle with the messages, as I don't think it's as obvious the meanings, and I was pleasantly surprised that actually I've got this now. That's one thing that I've learned about the tarot. Okay, I'm pretty solid with the meanings of most of the cards by now, if not all, apart from if I'm having an off day. And using this deck has shown me that as well. It's just been a pure joy. The last two decks of the December favourites are actually Christmas presents. And I get that I haven't really had them much for December. I did and ah about it. I decided against doing a Christmas present video. Each and every one of them has been something that I have been absolutely besotted with straight away, or they have been on my wish list for forever. The decks are the gorgeous Iris Oracle. I have wanted this for about a year. This is the first card that came out, and it was really interesting because I'm a little bit peeved at the card stock. It looks and feels amazing, but after only minimal use, well, it already turned up chipped at the back in the corners, and it's a very flaky cardstock, and I was so disappointed because it is an indie deck, and as much as they're to be used and loved, I'll be honest, if it turns up like that and then it just gets worse after the first shuffle, it's a little bit disappointing for me. And I was having a bit of a about it, and I pulled this card. You can't find a goodness because you lost your heart. And I was absolutely blown away. I wanted this deck because I thought that it would be really fitting for gratitude and healing, especially as that's my focus for 2008. I like the balance. The artwork really speaks to me, and I don't know, like, a lot of people have said that it's childlike, and I don't find that at all. Obviously everyone's artwork is different, but I have quite an emotional response. Again, a lot of the decks I've been drawn to, very emotional, as opposed to just a psychological. It's really hard to explain, but I just think that it's going to be a really good tool for me personally in terms of healing and checking in with myself. And if a message does come up and it's a hard message, sitting with it rather than telling myself, oh well, everyone else has got shit going on, you know, let's just get on with it. And therefore, you know, the process, there's no acknowledgement for the process. So I'm really, really happy with this deck, and I have used it a lot. And for such a powerful first pull, I'm really happy. I think I will edge it in black, and therefore the chipping away in the corners won't be such a big issue. And the last deck is a tarot deck that I saw in a local tarot shop, and they only had it on display, and I fell in love with it. Many of you will have seen it on one of my videos where I discuss my wish list. It is the Tarot del Fuego. Oh my gosh, you guys, this deck is, it just pulls punches. It is punchy as fuck. It's fantastic. It's really, I don't know, maybe it's just the bond that I've had with it, but it makes me chuckle so much, yet I don't think that the messages are light by any stretch of the imagination, and I actually find it really easy to work with. A lot of people have said that it's not traditional enough for them and that they have struggled with the messages, and I guess that I'm just very fortunate. I'm really getting into a space where I'm picking up so much from any visual that I see, and then with my foundation of what I already know. But I love it. It's so colourful. Look at the 9 of Swords. For me, I still think it looks very, very Rider-Waite-Smith. It's technically a Marseille. I can't remember where they found it, but it was Laurie at Thrifty Mystic who looked it up and said it's Marseille, and I said that makes sense to me. I haven't studied Marseille in particular, but I was very aware that strength in this deck is 11. Strength in this deck's 11 and justice is 8, which is not how I particularly resonate with them. However, what this deck has done, and I'm not going to look for it, but they've still got a lion in the justice card for number 8, so it's really interesting. I quite like that about it. I've just had fun reading with it, and it will definitely be one that I'll be using to read with for others, providing that they're comfortable with the artwork. Next up, I'm going to go for crystals and other little gifties, and then I'm going to finish off with books and my tarot goals. And I'm very aware of this video and I'm keeping an eye on the time. Another of my dear friends, Witchy Leo, gifted me a beautiful, beautiful package, and I'm hoping that I've remembered most of it. The cards in the background over here, but I'm just so grateful. There was a couple of people that I swapped cards with. I did them readings and sent them some gorgeous tea blends because I knew that I just couldn't do gifts with people this year. However, several of them, as you know, I got the deck, and then my other dear friend, they sent me a Leo care package, and you guys, I definitely am getting more tearful in my old age because I was absolutely blown away. One of the things that she sent was these fairy lights because she knew I wanted some. They're battery powered and they have literally just run out. I was like, oh, they're adorable. Then she sent this. Oh my god, you guys. This is amazing. For anyone who doesn't know, sorry, I've got crystals in my hand. My sun sign and my ascending sign are Leo. So we are Leo sisters, and this is wooden and it's gorgeous and you can hang it up. But I've actually had him perched on my altar. Absolutely adorable. She also sent some incense, and from what I can smell, it very much smells like rose to me. I don't know, but I've burnt one and it was amazing. I've never had incense triangles before. And then she sent these crystals. Now, she wasn't sure what they are. This one looks like toffee, we both agreed. She had said maybe petrified wood. I wasn't too sure. Often stones like this remind me of various forms of jasper, both of which I love. So I'm cool with whatever this is anyway. If anyone knows, they are more than welcome to comment below. And then the other ones are these beauties, which again, to me, they make me think of jasper. And when looking them up, jasper variations were the closest that I could get to a likeness. How adorable are they? I love my earthy colours. I've got quite a few earthy colours that I play with on my altar some months. Another one of my friends, and yes, I have been incredibly blessed this year with friends sending me beautiful care packages, and not that their friendship isn't more than welcomed and loved and appreciated anyway, despite that, but I just obviously want to show these things because I love them, and this is my faves vid. One of my absolute tarot besties, but general friends anyway, bought me this gorgeous labradorite palm stone, and I have wanted one of these for since when. And believe it or not, this isn't even doing it justice, and this looks pretty impressive already. It's divine. The amazing thing was, I had been on a live talking about, I do lives on Instagram, and I had been talking about how much I wanted a piece of this, a palm stone, and it turned up in the post 2 days later. She hadn't seen the live. She'd gone into her local shop and there it was. I was very ill in bed when it came, and I literally cuddled this, which sounds strange, but that's what I did. I cuddled this in bed for days. I love it. I walk around with it in my hand and in my pocket. It's amazing. And lastly, my lovely little desert rose. Yay! I have found a witchy shop local to me. How amazing is that, you guys? My father-in-law took me there, not his thing at all, he's a good sport, and he took me there to buy me a couple of little Christmas gifties, and because my back was too sore to drive myself. And it is amazing. The woman who owns it is just lovely, which makes it even better. And I always promised myself if I saw one of these I would buy them, because I saw them in a picture like a year ago and thought it was a sweet. It very much looks like a bonbon to me, and it's in my Lavish Earth deck as well, and I was like, okay, I need me some of this. Absolutely gorgeous. In that shop I also picked up this lovely pulse point oil. It smells absolutely amazing. I'm just having a look. It's very citrus based. She said she made it herself. It might not have been the first thing that I was going to go for, but she was low on stock and I really wanted to try one. The prices are amazing, and actually it's turned out to be really refreshing for me. I don't put citrus in my diffuser, which is here, because of the cat, and because that particular diffuser doesn't like it, and therefore having citrus on my pulse points when I'm not interacting with the cat felt perfect. Also from that shop was this gorgeous Untitled bracelet. I wear a lot of green in terms of crystals, and I guess this kind of more khaki green in colours. I pretty much live in black, and if I'm not wearing black then I'm wearing dark green. So I got this from there, which is gorgeous, and also goes lovely with this, which is another of my favourites. I've been wearing the two of these all month because I did get those Christmas presents early. This is labradorite, and the only labradorite I'd ever owned until my palm stone, and this was, I bought this on one of my Glastonbury visits. And lastly, this, which is, why is it escaping me? Moss agate, and it's in a little arrowhead shape, which again, I've got a bit of a thing for the arrowhead shape in particular. And when I saw this, I was absolutely in love, and when you shine a light through it, you can really see the layers of moss. I did forget something. My lovely Leo friend also got me this gorgeous journal. Shiny! Love! Again, gilded, yes! I'm having a think about what I'm going to do with this. Other presents that I got for Christmas and opened only just before, because two of my lovely friends, we did a visit, and so therefore things were opened early. They got me this gorgeous Pixies Dance incense. Oh, this incense is so powerful. You literally burn about that much of it. And, oh sorry, bad camera in. You burn a tiny bit of it and then put it out, and the whole room smells amazing for ages. It smells very floral to me, but not in a kind of sinusy, nasal, too much way. It's more of a deep floral. They also know that I love and live for tea, and got me this Dracula blend, which is rose hip, I believe. Let's have a look. Hibiscus flower and rose hip, and basically it looks like blood. It's amazing. I am so easily pleased. I appreciate that. I wanted to show off this because one of my dear friends, this was my card from them, and she actually hand painted it herself. It's sat on my altar all month. It's actually, look, it's bowed because it's been sitting there, so I'm going to flatten it. But I just love this. There's something that makes you want to touch it and shine it in the light. It is metallic, so I was very thankful for this, but also her words inside meant a lot to me, as did all of the cards that I received from everyone. Moving on to another Christmas present. This has been on my wish list for ages, and this was from my partner. This is amazing. Oh yeah, I have wanted a iron cauldron for ages so that I can do pure incense burning and various other things, and it does come with a lid as well. So it is a proper iron cauldron, but the lovely creator, who is called Luna's Locket, as you know, I've got lots of her candles, she actually makes them into candles, so you get the joy of the candle first and then you can use it after, which absolute bliss. Moving into books, oils, and the last portion of this. Part of my focus for 2018, and I guess it falls more in line with more herbal witchy aspects as opposed to actual tarot, but it is a very big focus for me, is learning about essential oils. I got this year by Neil's Yard, and it is, I've had it for about 4 months and it's amazing. I cannot recommend this book enough. It's got a breakdown of A to Z. It recommends whether something's best used as a mouthwash, bath, oil diffuser, etc. It also tells you in the beginning how to put them into your bath, which if you're a newbie like myself, I know that my mum used oils with myself and my brother and sisters, but it's not anything that I had retained. Not really. A little bit of it. Tea tree oil, I can use tea tree oil till the cows come home, and that's kind of peppermint, and that's it. This really helped, and one of the reasons is because I want to create some natural bath bombs and some of my own candles. But more importantly, what I intend to do is, due to the fibromyalgia, endo pain, blah blah blah, I want to find some herbal ways to support myself with my aches and pains. And this wonderful book recommends different things for different purposes. For example, lavender's often one that is good for relaxing people and helping them sleep. I did get some oils from the wonderful Mother Nature's Goodies. The others that I got are in there, but I particularly chose the rosewood because it said that it would be good for, I think it was muscular and joints. Don't quote me on that, I can't remember. But also, rosewood has got a very, again, it's got a floral but spicy woody essence to it. It's more of a lower tone, at least in the way that I found the smell. And I bought myself some sunflower oil. You can use many bases for many different reasons. The reason that I picked sunflower oil is due to sensitive skin, eczema, and the way that I wanted it to coat and soothe my skin, for want of a better term. And this lovely book helped me to, because I'm a newbie, work out. I used 1 tablespoon of the sunflower oil. I only put 3 drops of the rosewood in. It said up to 8, but I want to start low because of my skin. Naturally, the heat helped in itself in terms of my symptoms, but I did feel a difference, and I've only done that once. When throughout the year I have learned what particular essential oils and herbs do help, and obviously the ones that don't will be cast away. I'm going to start making some of my own roller blends, so that if I'm having a particularly bad time with my muscles, you know, they're gonna hurt every day, I'm gonna get different aches, pains, nerves, etc. But in particularly bad flare-ups, or maybe even just as a daily practice, I would like to have something in place created by myself for myself. If anyone else knows more about oils, feel free to get in touch with me, because I'm always open to new information and suggestions. My focus is for me and helping myself with aches and pains, emotional stuff, etc. I was loving The Woman Who Run with Wolves this year. Specifically towards the end of the year, I'd had trouble reading and retaining stuff, and it was the one thing that I could take in. I have the original copy, which is very small, and the cover is black, kind of like a goldy feel. It's behind me and I don't want to get up. Basically, it got damaged, and it was a gift from my mum years ago, and also it's the original, so I didn't want it to get any more damaged. It's already falling apart, so it's been put to rest on my tarot shelf, and I asked for a new copy, which I got, and I chose the one with the new cover, because if I'm going to get a second, then I might as well enjoy a different picture. And look! So I am so psyched to get back into this, and as I say, it's bigger than my last copy, so the font is easier to read. The last 3 books were on my Christmas wish list, and again were gifts. I haven't had loads of time to spend with them, but the time I have spent with them has been powerful, very healing, again very visceral and emotive, which is exactly why I wanted them. So they are definitely my favourites, and I think you will see more from them. And when I finish these books, I think I'll probably do some mini reviews on them, kind of like the tarot decks but shorter, because I feel like it's going to have that kind of impact on me. This is Salt, and it is by Naraya Waheed. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. It's poetry, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It's just so powerful. It's really interesting actually, because I believe Salt was made quite a few years before Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur, which is my next book. People seem to be a lot less aware of this book, and the poetry in it, just the first poem that I ever saw really moved me. And if I read something that I can get moved by, because that's not really an experience that I have very often, then I know that it's worth owning, and this year is definitely going to be about poetry for me as well. And then of course I've got the gorgeous Milk and Honey, which again I feel a very, very similar response to this book. It's laid out gorgeously. The one thing I love in particular about this book is the additional artwork. I love the way that it's split up into sections as well. And lastly, Stillness in the Mind. I won't talk about this much. Most of you know that I have various training with mindfulness, meditation, etc. and so forth. I wanted a book that was more realistic about it, and a kind of refresher before I moved into the new year. And as you can see here, Simon is a counsellor, therapist and meditation teacher. I've actually had people turn around to me and say that if I used mindfulness, then I could stop my pains and I wouldn't have my chronic conditions anymore, which is just a fantastic way to piss me off. And one of the things Simon says is that Simon says, excellent. One of the things he says in the book is that meditation and mindfulness does not remove pain, but however, what he recognizes and acknowledges is that you can move your focus away from the pain, and that does have, at least in my experience and my practice of it, it genuinely makes a difference. I will be starting my business in 2018, hopefully by the end of January, and I felt that it would be a fantastic book to lend my clients. So it's kind of gonna be read by me, taken in, I'll review it for you guys, and then it will go into my little library bookshelf where people can share. And that brings me to the end. My very last favourite is Elfin Tarot. She's back, you guys, yay! So psyched to see her back. I will link her channel below. She is loveliness personified, and I missed her, I'll be honest. And to be, without blowing smoke, I have found her particularly inspiring in terms of her attitude towards health and struggles and challenges. So definitely go and check her out. She is awesome. My focus for tarot for 2018 is pretty simple. Apart from the essential oils, I'm really going to be exploring stuff with tarot this year that is of specific interest to me. I feel like I did a lot of studying this year. I got a lot of the foundations down. It's a never-ending process for me. I don't believe in actualization and coming to the end and being an expert. I think that there's always stuff to learn. Particularly for me, I want to look at using tarot for shadow work, for myself and with others, healing work, again for myself and with others, and I want to explore its link to psychological theories, which some people will know why I'm interested in that and others won't. I keep my personal life private in some aspects, but specifically Jung is one of the first areas, Jung and the archetypes. So that is my 2018 goal. Obviously I would like to grow my tarot business, but many of you know it is not my main business. I'm actually at the end of creating a space in the house to start my business, which is the line of work that I was doing and I have been doing for about 10 years before I came out of work due to my health. Working from home means not driving, being in control of how much work I'm doing, and hopefully learning to work around my conditions, because I'm not someone who could be out of work completely. And so that will lead me away from the tarot community a little bit, but I am sure 2018 will be a place where I can find a new balance, a new sharing of my time and my focus, so that will be pretty interesting. Thank you for listening. If you did, much love. If you want to share your word of the year or your thoughts or any questions or anything else below, please do feel free to comment. I always get back to my comments, I'm pretty sure. If I haven't, then let me know. And other than that, you guys, Happy New Year, and I hope that for all of us we find a balance and have at least as much good times as difficult times. See you later.